Previously on The Devil on G-String. Kanan was a girl filled to the brim with sadness, loss, and despair.
ありがとうって。
She clenched her fists.
言いたかった。言いたかったよ。
I silently watched her sob.
誰も信じてくれないだろうけど、私
The rest of her words were lost in her weeping. Will you go over and hug her already? God damn. The kind young woman wept, alone. Like a deserted child, she always endlessly suffered. Alone. You're late.
ごめんなさい。ちょっと遊んでて。
If you walk the streets at night looking like that, people might think you're a prostitute.
そんなのと一緒にしないでよ。
Her mannerisms have become more crude as well. Cigarettes, alcohol, marijuana. She's tried it all. She even met Gonzo once. Surprisingly, Gonzo had a liking for Tsubaki. Had, past tense. He said the more pure the person is, the more potential for evil they have. Get this data into the computer quickly. Also, I want this here mailed out by tomorrow morning.
わかったよ。寝ないで頑張るね。
A slave to my orders, Tsubaki. She became my assistant before I even noticed. I will continue to follow Gonzo, but one day I too will reach the top of this dark world. And so it continues. Greetings, my name is Neosekken, and welcome back to my Let's Play The Devil on G-String. So I'm going to be going through Kanan's route one more time to try to see if I can find any other bad ends that I haven't seen yet, besides the one that I saw in the last episode. If I don't come across anything, then I guess I'll just move on to the main story proper. Otherwise, well, I'm going to just save everybody some time here and just show you guys something new whenever I do come across something new, whether it's this other possible ending in question, or if I just decide to make up my mind and just get back to the main story proper. So, see you guys in just a minute. I can't seem to find anything new whatsoever on Kanan's route, no matter what I try, so I guess I found everything I could possibly find. So I guess then I can officially write off both Kanan and Tsubaki. So without further ado, I will avoid the hell out of this subject. I cleared my throat. Sorry, Kanan, but can it wait another time?
あ、そう?
Yes, I'm sorry. I tried to be as cold as possible.
わかったよ。ごめんね。変なふりして。
Like you said, I'm pretty busy.
うん、知ってる。
Okay then. Great. You should take your bath now.
はーい。
She hurried into the changing room. I don't feel anything. Well, I'm not really surprised about there. You're a cold-hearted bastard. The snow outside is constantly changing. It falls silently and will disappear by morning. I've always looked at Kanan as a source of income. That's all. And she'll never be anything more than that. See? Cold-hearted bastard. My head hurt so much I swore my skull was about to burst. The devil wants to come out and play. I decided to get to sleep early today. I flipped open the newspaper after seeing Kanan off the next morning. Even though Kanon was making headlines in the sports section, my interest really laid elsewhere. The conflict between the Sonoyama and Shinye groups was escalating. Late last night, a fire erupted in the vicinity of Central Boulevard. One man from Shinye was dead, and 2 Sonoyama men were in intensive care after sustaining bullet wounds. Even our legitimate businesses are suffering from this incident. Nothing piles the work on my desk, like falling revenues at the clubs downtown. The stress it's given me might even be what's causing the headaches that have been brutalizing my vision. Well, I mean, hey, I guess if the city it absolutely insists on having more and more Yakuza gang violence, then I guess having a devil come out to play is a price it's just gonna have to pay for it. However, if Maou wanted to act, he wouldn't waste today's chance. Kanon's performance doesn't start until around 8 tonight, but the sooner we get Saijo to spill the beans, the better. And I'm assuming he's not beaten to death, right? Surely no one would start a shootout in broad daylight, but I still have to be careful to make sure I'm not targeted. Hello. Tokita isn't here yet?
Yuki wa asa yowai node.
Maybe she needs cappuccino, the smell of it to wake her up? Or a really loud alarm clock? It's noon, Usami. I knew any friend of hers couldn't be normal.
それより、一ついいですか?
By all means. Sure, shoot.
西条が宿泊していたホテルから西条の荷物を確認してみたんですが。
Anything interesting in there?
気になるのはパスポートと航空券ですね。航空券は今日の予約でした。
He was going to flee by plane. Where was he headed?
香港行きのチケットでしたね。
So he was leaving the country. If the ticket was for today, then that must mean he was planning on taking some action today and getting the hell out immediately afterward.
ええ。そして海外まで逃げなければならないほど大きな事件を起こす気だったのです。
Something so big, the police would show up immediately.
でしょうね。
Well, if we consider the possibility that Maou may attempt an escape as well, we should set up a patrol at the airport.
そんな余裕はあるんですか?
Try watching the news for once. Yes. If you haven't noticed, we're pretty much fighting a war right now. The Sonoyama group has over 1,000 members, all on standby due to the current conflict. Of course, this figure is inflated somewhat by the inclusion of street hoodlum associates and such. But naturally, even these members aren't spared from their harsh duties during wartime. How many people have been mobilized by for Kanon by now, I wonder? As if Kanon has any say-so over these guys. Imagine if she did.
浅井さんは弾狙われたりしないんすか?
Not many people know me by face. I've been posing as a normal student after all.
何にしてもお気をつけて。
Don't worry. Gonzo wouldn't give a damn if I was taken hostage. I think everyone's caught on to this by now.
それはそれで寂しいお話ですね。
I guess that's certainly one word for it. It's okay. I got you for company, right? Why is this Joker staring at me? Probably because this Joker is concerned about you, you idiot.
お待たせ。
Hello, no, not late bloomer. That doesn't apply here. Zombie? Well, you know, like, as in sleeping like the dead. Fuck, I don't know what to call you. Either way, hello. I heard a voice and turned around to find Tokita. Do you think you're late enough?
だって春が起こしてくれないんだもの。
Somebody's lying here, and I demand to know who.
いや、私は5回くらいモーニングコールしたよ。昔は家まで迎えに来てくれたのに。だって家知らないし。
You don't know where she lives, despite the relationship you two clearly have, and how important an asset that she is to our current predicament. Although I guess asset does sound a bit dehumanizing. But anyway, Usami, something's not adding up here. Stop going back and forth this crap. Let's go already. No, please do. I want to find out the truth here. We pass through the narrow alleys of Central Boulevard and head toward the building that held Saijou. I guess this is just another thing I can add to the long list of questions throughout life that I likely will never get an answer to. How sad. Hey, Tokita, don't forget what you promised yesterday. Okay? Tokita flashed me a confident smile.
簡単よ。すぐに終わらせてあげる。
おい、時田、遅いじゃないか。
The moment Tokita sat down, Saijou screamed.
まったく、すぐ戻ってくるものだとばかり思っていたが、一体何の真似だ？
Apparently she's a really late sleeper, assuming that isn't some kind of lie. Tokita frowned and glanced at Saijou apologetically.
本当にすみません。私がいない間、何かありましたか？
What a clever response. The guy's not only been left alone, but he's been given booze, 3 square meals a day, and nap time for God's sake. Anything more, he'd be in a jacuzzi at the Ritz of high-class hookers.
実は、とても残念なお知らせがありまして。
なんだ？どうした？
Your 3 square meals are about to be reduced to 2. Just 2. Tokita shook her head and let her gaze fall. After letting a good amount of time pass, she finally responded.
連中はあなたを許すつもりはないようなのです。
Saijou was speechless. Tokita's tone was full of sincerity, yet it still bore gravity.
すみません、本当に。
She seemed to pale somewhat, as if to pretend she'd spent the past 24 hours bargaining for his freedom. However, Tokita's words weren't a lie. It's crystal clear that Saijou isn't going to be released. Honestly, I'd say it's better for society as a whole that he isn't, so is there any real loss here? Yuki was also honest when she first met with Saijou, introducing herself as Usami's friend. Perhaps telling the truth is some sort of rule of negotiation.
それでも、私がここに戻ってきたのは、まだお話の途中だったからです。望みはあると思っています。そう。何か取引になるような材料さえあれば。
取引だと？
Saijou stared unblinkingly at Tokita.
ええ。あなたが許されるに足りるような材料です。
それはつまり、魔王の計画を話せということだろう。
So that's your game
昨日も言ったが、それは。
He cut himself off.
だいたい話せば助かるという保証はあるのか？ないだろう。
Honestly, probably not.
京介。
Tokita suddenly called my given name without an honorific.
どういう取り決めになっているか話してあげて。
Tokita must be trying to demonstrate her power to Saijou. So I'm forced to be the bad guy, is that it? Well, you are quite good at it, so... If you don't talk, you'll be killed. However, if you tell us about Maou, this thing will blow over smoothly. I'm the son of the head of the Sonoyama group. I'll probably inherit this position. You can take my word as the organization's word. I just pulled stuff out of my ass. Tokita, who's on a first-name basis with the son of the group's leader, turned back to Saijou.
というわけだけれど、残念ね。あなたはとても義理がたい人だから。
Saijou kept silent. Silence is probably the only thing he can manage. His pupils erratically focused on the floor as he ground his teeth.
こういうのはどうかしら。
Having used a low voice, as if whispering to him alone, Tokita immediately got his attention. Saijo's eyes quickly switched back to her as he listened intently.
西条さん、昨日の話の続きをしましょう。
At some point, she cast off her reverent and respectful diction and shifted her pose forward.
昨日の話、覚えてるわね。
私の話だったな。
そう。あなたが今日何をするつもりだったのか詳しく話してほしいの。あくまであなたがあなたの行動を話すのであって、それが例えば魔王の計画を漏らすことになったのだとしても、私にはわからないわ。
Tokita must be trying to say, I'm the only one that won't scorn you.
大丈夫よ。真実を話してくれればいいだけなんだから。真実は好きでしょ？あなたは世の中のいろんな嘘や欺瞞に疲れてる。違う？
This is probably the coup de grace. These abstract yet tangible words will inflate his sense of greatness and stimulate his pride.
お願い。これが最後よ。力を貸して。
After that came the silence. Saijo's feet started to shake. And after keeping his head hung low for so long, he finally lifted it to stare at Tokita. Will he talk? Saijo flashed me an expression of horror before relaxing his shoulders with a look of exhaustion. At length, he opened his trembling lips.
狙いは鮮かのリンクに向けて爆弾を投げ込む予定だった。
Well, that's hardcore. A bomb?! I couldn't help but scream out. Usami spoke up quickly as well.
荷物を調べさせてもらいましたが、あなたは爆弾を持っていない。
Saijo suddenly clammed up. I suppose it may have had something to do with the appearance of Usami, the target of his hatred.
詳しくお話ししてもらえるのよね、西条さん。あなたは約束は守る人でしょ。
会場で受け取る予定だった。
魔王からですね。
Saijo didn't answer, but it was a good confirmation as any.
浅井さん、フィギュアスケート会場に爆弾なんて持ち込めるんですか？
I don't know much about bombs, but can't you make pretty small ones these days? Seems like it'd be a cinch. All you'd have to do is stash it in your pocket and walk right in. There are searches at the entrance, but that's more for things like cameras. They won't actually do a thorough inspection of your personal belongings. Unable to control myself, I inched closer to Saijo. Why? Why Kanon?
それは私の知るところではない。私はただ共に協力するだけだ。
いいえ、浅井さん。魔王の目的はずれていません。
What?
今回の脅迫事件は、もともとカノンに負けるよう指示するものでした。
So you're saying he's resorted to direct violence? I don't know too much about the power of a bomb, but if Kanon's injured at all, she's done for. When? When were you planning to detonate the bomb?
詳しい手口は知らない。
Don't fuck with me! Tokia's hand stopped me.
嘘はついていないわ。リンクに投げ込むと言いましたね。ということは、タイミングは演技前の練習の時か、演技中、カノンが現れた時ですね。
Usami also pressed closer to Saijo.
爆弾を受け取る予定だと？
ああ。
あなたは魔王と顔を合わせたことがあるんですか？
Right. How was the handoff supposed to go down? You know, wait, I just thought of something. No, wait, never mind. it was around the time that I started Kanan's route, and, well, Devilman ended up fading away, it seems, because, well, Devil Boy found love, and, well, I imagine that kind of put the whole bomb plan on indefinite hold now, didn't it? Yeah, I guess that would explain why the bomb thing didn't happen in Kanan's route.
会ったことはない。今日初めて顔を合わせるはずだった。
He scratched his nose while talking.
どこで待ち合わせる予定だったんですか？会場の中？外？
会場内だ。
売店？トイレ？客席？
A seat in the restroom, maybe?
そりゃ時間が来たら連絡すると言っていた。
時間はいつ
？8時近くだ。携帯電話が鳴るまで私は客席に座って待機していればよかった。
Usami kept on nodding.
私からの最後の質問です。あなたのご友人は、たとえあなたの協力が得られなくても、目的を成し遂げようとすると思いますか？
At that, Saijo cracked up.
当たり前だ、宇佐美。彼は現在のフィギュアスケートを憎んでいる。浅井カノンとかいう生意気な小娘を許すことはないだろう。
His laughter only grew louder and more maniacal, reverberating around the tiny room.
そうだ、私が喋っても意味はない。魔王は賢い。私が捕まったとしても必ず貴様らの裏をかいた作戦を用意してことに臨むだろう。魔王はもう2人も殺しているにもかかわらず、警察の手も及ばないほど有能な犯罪者だ。そうだ、私が何を言ったところで構うもんか。
Well, unless the fine lady that you are sitting directly in front of just so happens to be a member of the police, which I am still pondering if she is, in which case, well, there is a good chance that some of her co-workers now know about Devilman's existence by now, assuming she didn't keep quiet about it. It sounds as if he's trying to defend his weakness for confessing. He's killed 2 people. I pressed ever closer to Saijo. Who is the second? I thought it was only that designer.
おや、まだ知らないのか。バレエダンサーの男だ。海に突き落として殺した。
So that's what happened.
さあ、私を解放しろ。約束は守れよ、時田。
まだあるわ、西条さん。
She shook her head.
まだ話し足りないことがあるはずよ。そう。例えば、魔王の風貌ね。
Saijo's eyebrows twitched.
顔を合わせたことがないというのは本当でしょう。でも、待ち合わせにあたって、魔王は何か自分の特徴を口にしていなかった？
いいだろう。ニット帽だ。黒のニット帽をかぶった細身で長身の男が魔王だ。
Somehow, I'm willing to wager that this tall, thin man wearing a black wool cap isn't actually gonna be Devilman, but rather another one of his lackeys.
どうもありがとう。
I don't know. So far from what I've seen of the guy, Devilman is pretty much the sort of person who won't really get directly involved in one of his schemes unless he can be certain that things will go off without hitch in his favor, which would only increase the thrill for him. Okay, I guess maybe that last part doesn't make sense, but I don't know. But just call it a gut feeling at the end here, I guess. I really don't think he would actually get directly involved with this one. Tokita blossomed with a gentle smile that I hadn't seen before.
さようなら。もう会うこともないでしょう。
なんだって？
Saijo's eyes widened in shock.
待て、お前。
あなたは私の春をナイフで切り裂こうとした。
Tokita spoke harshly.
嘘はついていないわよ。私は弁護士ではないのだからね。
私を救うと。
ええ、あなたは妹を殺しておいて何も顧みなかったようね。そういう人間が救われるには。
Death? Tokita's gaze was flashing bewitchingly.
ね。わかるでしょ？
Saijo didn't move a single inch. He just maintained that glare. All that remained was a sad man, harshly beaten far too many times. The sky had already started to darken.
会えて嬉しかったわ、京介くん。
It's also a pleasure making your acquaintance. Tokita wanted to shake hands with me. You were a big help. I guess I owe you one.
礼なんていいのよ。ね、アリ。
はい。
Isami was saluting for some reason.
大変な事件が起こってるみたいだけど、頑張ってね。
Bit of an understatement considering we're dealing with explosives this time around. Although now that I'm thinking about it, I can't help but wonder if explosives are just the next part of this guy of Maou's plan here. What exactly is he going to do for his grand finale? Tsubaki and Kanon's routes, everything that's dealt with both of them involves some kind of financial whatever. In Tsubaki's case, it was those stocks and the Shiratori Corporation, and in this one, well, it's basically making sure that Kanon fails in a way that would be financially advantageous to Sonoyama Group. Money is the big factor here in everything we've seen so far, and yet he insists that acquiring wealth for himself is not his goal here. And clearly he wants to make people who were responsible for his father, for his father's imprisonment and all that stuff, well, meet some kind of retribution. And the only thing I can think of that makes any kind of sense to me is maybe his end goal is to make the economy in this city and beyond crash somehow? The question, if that's the case, then the question is, how exactly would he accomplish that? Just a theory, though, and if I'm being honest, it might be a bit too early for me here to be trying to guess what his ultimate goal might be here, considering we only got 2 cases to work with so far. But I'm just trying to figure things out here the best I can, and then just make changes to my theories as new information becomes available. Gotta start somewhere, you know? Anyway, enough of my rambling. Tokita waved as she disappeared into the crowds of the lavish street. First things first, I'll go report to Gonzo.
浅井さん、スケートのチケットお持ちですか？
Alright, you can have mine. Go ahead, I'll meet you there.
ひとまず会場の出入り口を見張っておくとします。
Sounds logical. Maou might already be in the arena, though.
よし、じゃあ解散。
Usami ran off in an excessively high-strung voice. My entire body is sore. My fever is acting up again, and now of all times. I stormed into Gonzo's estate and quickly explained the situation.
今晩9時、親衛会の事務所を一家総出で囲む。あまり人は動かせ。
Even though there is a bomb involved? I realize the situation with Shinya is of the utmost concern, but Kanan's life is at risk.
乗り込みはもう連合全体に告知したことだ。俺も自ら出向く。今さら取りやめられる。
Right, but
この家にいるものを使え。
better than nothing. But are you going to be all right? Very well. I've already prepared 10 tickets, so we should be ready to move.
そっちの指揮は堀部に任せる。うまく使え。
Gonzo appeared to be on a high in the face of the upcoming hunt. I contacted Haribi and headed toward the arena. It's already near 6 o'clock. Famous skaters from overseas are battling it out on the ice, and the crowd is boiling to a heated frenzy.
浅井さん、すみません。
Though we were nearly drowning in the sea of people, I was able to meet up with Asami.
魔王らしき人物は見当たりませんでした。見落とした可能性もあります。
This crowd makes it easy to miss someone. According to Saijo's confession, Maou was supposed to be wearing something like a black wool cap, right?
ええ、しかし、いつも被っているとは限りません。
Right, I suppose not. Hats are pretty conspicuous.
おそらく、カノンの登場時間が近づいてからが勝負でしょう。
I understand. But first, on the off chance that Maou's somewhere nearby, let's split up and look around. He's a tall, lean young man, right?
あまり効率的とは言えませんが、今はそれしかなさそうですね。
Yeah. Let's do a loop and meet back here. Haribi-san, how are things on your end? 8 Soniyama men were scattered about the arena, including Haribi. We spoke over the phone.
無理でしょ坊ちゃん。もうちょっと特徴がつかめねえと。細身で長身の野郎なんていくらでもいますからね。
Yeah, I know. Sorry I can't give you anything else to go on.
気が焦るのはわかりますがね。また何かわかったら連絡ください。
Of course I'm anxious. After all, if I don't do something... Ugh, motherfuck. Another headache.
浅井さん、どうです？
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just fed up with my own stupidity. Ah, so that's what your headache is, huh? Just plain old stupidity? Good to know, I guess.
いえいえ、やっぱりがむしゃらに動いてみるものですね。私は魔王の犯行の糸口をつかみましたよ。
What was it?
西条がどういう方法で爆弾を投げ入れるつもりだったのかということです。
I don't know, but what's so special about the way he'll throw it? I tried to adjust my blurry vision by kneading the bridge of my nose.
大丈夫ですか？
Yeah, don't worry about me. Just tell me your epiphany.
あのお店をご覧ください。
Usami pointed in the direction of a nearby kiosk.
お花屋さんですよね。
Yeah, what about... Oh, I see. Hide the bomb in a bouquet of flowers, and then toss it onto the ring at the best possible time to do such a thing. Probably at the end of a performance. Well, maybe not. Otherwise, that would kind of fuck things up for his plans, wouldn't it? Well, either way, I mean, I get the general idea now, I think. Usami suddenly squinted.
本当に体調が悪いみたいですね。
I told you not to worry.
いいですか？西条は香港行きの航空券を持っていたんです。ということは、犯行後逃げるつもりだったわけですよね。
Sure.
ユキには悪いですが、西条の話はどうも口頭無形というか現実的ではないなと思っていたんです。だってリンクの上に爆弾なんて投げ入れて逃げられるわけがありません。
Yeah, you're probably right. There's plenty more security here today than just our Yakuza.
はい、席を立ってそんなものを投げ入れたらまず確実に取り押さえられるでしょう。
At think I'm beginning to understand her.
しかし、さっきから会場を見ていれば、観客がリンクに近づき、自由に物を投げ入れられる瞬間があります。
And that's the moment which you throw in the bomb, hidden in among some flowers. I gave a firm, slow nod. The flower toss.
って言うみたいですね。演技が終わった選手に客席から花束を投げ入れるんです。
You've really been thinking about this.
カノンは今、日本で一番人気がある選手です。演技が終われば、みんなリンク際に駆け寄ることでしょう。
And along with that flood, a bomb will be thrown onto the ice in the guise of a bouquet of flowers. Knowing how much people love Kanan, I'm sure the flowers thrown tonight will rival a small garden. Thus, it would be impossible to see who threw what. Of course, if the police were to investigate, it should be a relatively simple matter to identify the assassin by examining trajectories in the arena seating plan. But if that person flees overseas before the analysis comes back with any results, it'll again be difficult to chase and catch him. So, what's next?
この混雑です。カノンの演技終了までに魔王を見つけられなければ、ジ・エンドです。
Easier said than done, Sami.
ひとまず花屋さんのそばを監視しておくとします。
It would be a waste of time if he smuggled his own flowers in. And flowers aren't necessarily the only option. Fans throw stuffed animals into the rink as well.
西条は8時近くに魔王と接触する予定だったそうですね。
I guess that's when our match will be decided. The skaters are warming up around then, and spectators are free to roam about the arena.
しかし、
Usami shook her head, unsatisfied.
どうにも後手に回っていますね。
You're probably right. And how's that? The intel from Saijo has brought us a long way, wouldn't you say?
それはそうですが。
Usami grew silent, lost in thought. What? Are you scared?
いえいえ、
If you're scared, Usami, you could always escape.
知らなかったんですか？大魔王からは逃げられないんですよ。
Usami walked toward the flower stall with a smirk on her face. I need to get searching too. And 2 minutes later, you're gonna fall unconscious because of headache, and then the Devil Boy Man will come out and play, right? Kanan's life is at stake, after all. She may be a little short-tempered, but she's a simple, honest girl deep down. There aren't many who understand her, but I at least have no choice but to accept her wholeheartedly. Because even if it's only in name, I'm Kanan's brother. Now. God damn it, my head hurts! Now then. Called it! I checked the hands of my watch. There are still 15 minutes before 8 o'clock. But still, all communication from Saijo had ceased. What should I make of that? Did he spill the proverbial beans of our plan? If so, how much did he tell? I suppose that's the more critical question. Did he tell them I'd be wearing a wool cap? Oh well. I'll make my move. I will give you a glorious death. I took the cap out of my pocket and donned it as I walked down the corridor. Okay, look, buddy. I'm not questioning at this point here that you certainly got a functioning brain in that skull of yours, but I got a serious question here. If there's a chance here that your enemies know that you'd be donning a wool cap, why don't you just play it safe and just not wear it? Just curious. I took the cap. Okay, I already read that. Tensions inside were running a record high. After all, Azai Kanan would soon take the ice. The favorite to win, bearing all of Japan's hopes and expectations, showed herself in the rink. Amongst the passionately cheering masses, Haru's shoulder was suddenly grabbed.
坊ちゃん見なかったかい？
It was Haribi.
いいえ、連絡しても繋がらなくて。
こんだけ混みようと電波の状況も悪いみたいだな。
Haru was worried. Kyosuke had been white as a ghost the last time she saw him. He could barely keep standing.
もう時間がありません。我々だけで探しましょう。きっと浅井さんも必死になって魔王を追っているはずです。
黒のニット帽だっけ？
はい。何としても阻止しなくては。
Haru exchanged phone numbers with Haribi. A test call between them went through, albeit barely. Perhaps their phone models had good compatibility with each other, or they were using the same service provider. Haru weaved through the crowds, keeping her eyes on every lurking corner. It was now precisely 8 o'clock. The skaters were practicing on the ice, gliding around and launching themselves into the air. The monstrous audience cheered and applauded whenever one of these jumps was completed successfully. Haru made her way to a row of seats very close to the ice as she intently watched Kanan dash across the rink. For a moment, she thought that their gazes met. However, Kanan didn't seem to recognize her at all. Was she too deep in concentration? It was entirely possible, seeing how even the actions of the other skaters didn't seem to register with her. Haru turned her head as she meandered through the rows of seats. There! A black wool cap! That silhouette. That unforgettable silhouette! This was without a doubt the man who escaped her by a hair's width on Central Boulevard. Haru followed the man in the eye of her eyes. She charged forward, dialed Haribi's number, and put the cell to her ear. Fortunately, it connected right away.
堀部さん、聞こえますか？
見つけたぞ！
Haru asked for confirmation while continuing her pursuit.
見つけた？
今追ってる！
Fantastic. Haru's steps got even lighter. Haribi seemed to have locked onto Maou as well, so... Surely this time she'll... Haribi yelled, panting.
売店だ！やつは今売店にいる！
Well, ain't that just a bitch? Turns out Devilman isn't the only one wearing a black wool cap. Haru's mind suddenly went blank. How? She stopped dead in her tracks. But he's right in front of me. Maou's right over there. Usami should be drowning in confusion and helplessness right about now. The only lead she had was the cap, but there are dozens of men in the arena wearing one at the moment. My decoys were chosen according to their height, one similar to my own. Oh, okay, that's why you donned it. There's an area in this town that serves as a sort of community for foreigners who've come here to work away from home. As long as one's willing to pay, it's a simple matter to gather a group of ready and willing henchmen. I gave them tickets, ordered them to wear the caps, and told them to wander around the arena wearing a large black coat. I'm sure every last one of them thinks all Japanese look alike, but I was still careful to make sure they didn't see my face during our dealings. Their fees were paid entirely in old bills, with non-sequential serial numbers. One would be hard-pressed to pull a lead out of the decoys. So, what are you going to do next, Usami?
またニット帽ですか？
Haribi's voice was getting closer. One had been spotted near the entrance, one inside the washroom. The arena was rapidly flooded by men in black wool caps. A nightmare. Uneasiness started to set in. She had already figured that Maou would hash some sort of plan. After all, if he is aware of Saijou's capture, and he would have no other choice. Maou had probably planned this whole charade after realizing that Saijou would leak information regarding the cap.
いいえ、魔王は日本人です。ええ。
Calm down, Haru. Haru reprimanded herself as she crashed into spectators all through the crowded passageways of the arena. She chased the cap closest to her.
そう人数は多くないはずです。
She began to think out loud to Haribi. Maou was using foreigners as decoys. Naturally, this was to hide himself. However, he couldn't have prepared more than a dozen tickets or so. It would be too eye-catching if he bought over 20 tickets at an auction. Even if he used multiple usernames at an online auction, the police would pin them down to one person if they investigated the matter. And in any case, it was very likely this was an impromptu plan Maou concocted on the spot. This crime was originally intended to be carried out by Saijou alone. Saijou's failure forced a change of plans upon Maou, and there hasn't been enough time since his capture to prepare a full-blown scenario shift.
落ち着いて、一人ずつ捕まえていきましょう。
The warm-up period will be over soon. When the competition resumes, the crowd in the halls will subside. However, that also means Haru and the Sonoyama men won't be able to move around as conspicuously as they are now. Haru felt the stare of a security guard as she finally arrived at the next wool count. No dice. She quietly glanced at his face and discovered blue eyes. He didn't react to Haru's proximity either. He had probably just been ordered to wander around. Just in case, she talked to him, but the foreign words he replied with weren't in Maou's voice. According to my observations, I'd say there were 10 people chasing me, including Usami. The performance was about to begin, and the audience was hushed in anticipation. If someone ran around now, they'd attract attention. Kanan will be the third skater on the ice. I'd say it'll be about 15 minutes until she does so. That leaves less than 20 feet before the audience begins to throw her flowers. Still, I can't believe it's turned into another game of tag. What a spirited young woman. Very well. Catch me if you can. The arena speakers announced a competitor's entrance. After a brief cheer, the crowd quieted again, like an ebbing tide. It was about time for Haru to stop running around. Nevertheless, she couldn't bring herself to give up. After all, there were less than 20 minutes before the end of Kanan's performance. Haribi called again.
二人です。どちらも魔王ではありませんでした。
どうなってんだクソね。
Haru began to think. She needed to stay calm. She braced her gut to resist being overwhelmed by the situation.
そうなったらカノン嬢ちゃんの演技が終わった瞬間にリンクに飛び込むしかねえな。なんとか嬢ちゃんを助けねえと。
If that happens, there will be an uproar. Rumors will be plastered all over the front page. Still, Kanan's life is the most important consideration. Well, I think her daddy might disagree. Suddenly, another black cap appeared in the corner of Haru's vision. That makes 6.
おい、うさみちゃん。
Haribi said, as a once fading anxiety grew stronger again in his voice.
あんた、根本的に間違ってるんじゃないのか？
はい。
いいか、魔王は西条が捕まったことを知っているわけだろ？
はい。
なのに、ご丁寧にニット帽なんてかぶってくるか？西条がゲロすることくらい予想してるだろ。
それならば、なぜ今この時間になって大量のニット帽が現れたんですか？
Haru checked out the sixth man while talking.
堀部さんのおっしゃる通り、魔王は西条が計画を漏らしたことを予測しているでしょう。だったら一人で会場に現れればいいのです。我々は魔王の素顔を知りません。それこそニット帽をかぶる必要もなければおとりを用意する意味もないのです。
つまりどういうことだ。
That Haru still didn't know. Why would Maou bring these decoys here? The more accomplices he uses, the more chances there are for a perfect crime to be ruined. The decoys must bring him some benefit, if that's more enticing than the obvious risks. Perhaps he was trying to outwit Usami and the rest by thinking one step ahead again. Right now, Maou was probably capless, casually watching the performance. However, as Usami told Haribi just moments earlier, that would defeat the purpose of the decoys. They make his pursuers grow restless, which in turn makes the security guards more than a little antsy. Security guards on edge would undoubtedly make things harder for Maou when he tried to escape after throwing the bomb, wouldn't they?
ニット帽を追いましょう。全員捕まえるんです。
Oh, come, lovely child. Oh, come thou with me, for many a game I will play there with thee. The simplest answer was that Maou really is just playing a game. It wouldn't be surprising, seeing as how the situation mirrors the Miwa family's kidnapping in many ways. Maou took their ransom in a glorious farce, despite the risks, and hiring the decoys might simply be a similar act of flamboyant confidence. Then again, that confidence would suggest that Maou exists somewhere amongst the caps. He's saying, catch me if you can. The first girl must have just finished her run. A wave of passionate applause rang out and faded again. I retrieved the backpack from the locker at the end of the hall. Its contents have been prepared well in advance. Explosives and computer-controlled detonation equipment. Technology has made the world so convenient, hasn't it? Man's progress has reached a point that even bombs come in user-friendly versions for us laymen. It costs a pretty penny, but I'd call it quite the bargain considering the worth of a human life. Step by step, I continue to move. I glance at my watch. It's almost time. Usami should be flustered beyond relief right about now. But the more anxious she gets, the cooler her head will get, and the harder she'll search for me. And of course she would. Kanon's life is at stake after all. However, that girl still has a long way to go. I mean, just look at all the special service I've been giving her, and yet she still hasn't caught me. Oh? Looks like I played a little too much. Haru stopped her restless footsteps. A security guard had just come to question her. After an apology and an excuse, she had immediately gone after the cab in front of her again. At this point, she just hoped that this would be the last one. Based on Haribi's most recent figures, this was the 10th cap and coat. How convenient. You were literally the last one out. Even if there were more decoys than this, her time was pretty much up. Kanon's performance was starting. Ride of the Valkyries echoed throughout the arena. The applause rose to ridiculous volumes a countless number of times. Kanon's popularity was truly a thing of wonder. Haru caught up with the cap. At this distance, she could reach out and touch him. Maou's silhouette came to her mind again. The tall, lean man in front of her matched her memory rather well.
すみません。
Surprised, the man's shoulders shook.
魔王か。
He seems to know Japanese at least. The man, keeping his back to Haru, stopped moving. He carried a backpack on his left shoulder.
魔王だな。
Haru moved. She reached out, trying to grab the man's arm. But she caught only air. The man suddenly broke into a sprint. Haru gave chase, refusing to let him escape. Run, Devil Man, run! She ran with all her strength and finally cornered the man into a dead end. He stopped running and slowly turned as he caught his breath. He had balanced features. A big nose perhaps, but sharp eyes. Haru moaned in regret. This man wasn't Maou. He clumsily started to explain that he didn't have a camera. Inside the arena, the average spectator isn't permitted one. Everything was explained after she looked through his bag. It was a false alarm entirely. Well, that just blows. He was simply a young man that wanted to sneak a photo of Kanan. So what am I supposed to do now? Haru stood motionless, trying desperately to rouse her lost self. Kanan's performance was over. It was all over. At last, the audience gave her a standing ovation. Oblivious to her plight, Kanan showed her appreciation for the audience while doing a half lap around the rink. And before she completes her round, the flowers thrown for her will bring with them a bomb of terrible destructive power. If this keeps up, everything will end before Haru gets a chance to do anything. Just like the time she disappointed Tsubaki. Just like the time her mother died. How strange. At the last second, Haru regained her focus. The sounds around her no longer reached her ears. Indeed, the entire situation was strange. Now she thought about it, everything seemed horribly wrong. There was a discrepancy. She has been confused about it ever since Azai Gonzo approached her with the letter. Haru reconsidered the whole incident from the beginning. The suspicious points, which had been like a skyscraper in a rainforest, became unnoticeable as the forest grew. In an instant, Haru's scattered thoughts snapped into a single, straight line.
しかし、確証がない。
Haru didn't even blink. It was as if she couldn't move at all. At last, the roar of the crowd penetrated her concentration. The screams mixed into the din slowly eroded through Haru's eardrum. She could have sworn they were mocking her, frantically shouting, "Usami lost." Looks like I played a little too much. I almost missed the train to the Southern District. Guess I stayed at the arena for too long. Though I managed to catch the train in the end, I can't shake this nagging feeling that everything I do will fail. For example, Saijo. He was captured as a result of my underestimation of Usami. Using accomplices, constructing alibis, hosting a wild goose chase of decoys. These things certainly introduce a little variety into the concepts of crime, but at the same time, accomplices are risk incarnate. And in the end, Saijo revealed my plan. Case in point. What a despicable human being. I was so kind to him, yet he betrayed me. You used him right from the beginning, so who the fuck are you to criticize? Bit by bit, I really come to understand that an accomplice is nothing more than a hindrance. Still, I can't help but laugh. Relief, that is. I'd almost like to thank Saijo for passing my feint on to those who would oppose me. Because my real target isn't Kanan. It's you, Azai Gonzo. I left the arena immediately. It's not a good idea to stay in a place with so many cameras for too long. After taking a detour halfway to retrieve the bag with the bomb near the train station, I arrived at Gonzo's mansion. I suppose the devil has smiled on me this evening. Even though I half predicted it. No, expected it. I'm still shocked that Gonzo left himself defenseless, despite being in the middle of a war. It's a direct result of the continuous disruptions the Soniyama group has faced this week. Well, it would only take a minute to plant the bomb on the bottom of Gonzo's personal Mercedes. I'm confident that I could manage it even if there had been security patrols. But in any case, tonight at 9, the general will enter the battle with Shinya himself. He plans to wipe the small fries who dare challenge the Soniyama group off the face of the earth, apparently. Everyone in the Yakuza knows about this, so obviously, I know of it too. In just a moment, the car will park near the front gate to pick up Gonzo. I'll aim for the moment the driver leaves the car to get Gonzo. Gonzo would never have thought he'd be killed this way. Car bombs and the like simply aren't in Yakuza protocols. These mafia types announce themselves first. Then they declare their intentions and charge right in for the kill. It wouldn't be honorable to take an enemy's head without going through the proper procedure. This is especially true for the highly traditional Shinya group. The only problem will be the police. For the same reason that Gonzo won't suspect a thing, the police will have a good chance of guessing that the person who killed Gonzo wasn't someone from Shinya. However, that's as far as they'll get. First off, I won't leave any evidence pointing to me as the culprit. The wool cap is a bit of a joke, but it's also here to guarantee that I won't leave any hair on the scene. Naturally, I'm using latex gloves, so I won't leave fingerprints. Though there's a chance that fibers from my clothing will be left behind. My apparel tonight consists entirely of cheap goods from local department stores. Anyone could buy this stuff. Well, even if I chose to be a little lazy, the bomb would blow most of this away. However, I took one single most important precaution. Gonzo is undoubtedly wary of me, despite the fact that he's heading straight for the chopping block. Those who remain will likely ask, where was that most suspicious Maou during Gonzo's last fatal battle with Shinya? Thus, I thought I'd give them an answer to ease their worries. Oh, he was angry at the state of the figure-skating world and busy brooding over his grudge against Azai Kanan, its representative. Hence my utilization of Saijo. I pretended to criticize figure skating with as much jargon as possible. Though I was passionately describing the new judging system, it was only a very average, normal opinion that many average, normal people hold. But Saijo wouldn't know that, of course. The same goes for my political ideals. I don't even have a scintilla of interest in this country's future. I admit, I occasionally make some harmless comments that I have no intention of answering for, but that's more like stating your opinion after watching a movie than it is preparing for revolution. I feel no need to spout my beliefs to the masses. I simply act on them. And the more perfect those actions are, the better. The car is approaching. I head behind a nearby house and watch the Mercedes-Benz park near the gate. An oversized skinhead stepped out of the car and disappeared into the house. Excellent. There's not a trace of another person in the vicinity, and the bomb was installed successfully. I set to explode at 8:50 exactly. That's 10 minutes from now. It takes at least 15 minutes to get to Shinye's Central Boulevard headquarters by car, even if you speed the whole way. So in order to get there by 9, they must leave before 8:45. This way, the explosion will happen in the middle of transit. There may be some collateral damage to nearby pedestrians and vehicles, but... well, that's nothing more than a terrible case of simple bad luck. Oh, those poor civilians. Part of being alive is dealing with the senseless executions that happen every once in a while. Just like my father's. As I walked along the winter streets, the chills soaked into my bones. I have no qualms about killing Azai Gonzo. Gonzo is an existence that must be destroyed, and I refuse to rest until this has been realized. Mother's mental illness was directly induced by Gonzo's ceaseless hounding. Her doctor confirmed this. And right now, Gonzo has mobilized his entire organization on either Shinye or Kanan. Once your prey shows an opening, it's only natural to move in for the kill. Isn't that right, Gonzo? Finally, the hands of my watch approach 8:50. At any rate, Usami hasn't shown much growth. This ruse was no different than the one that led her to the Plaza Hotel after rummaging through Saijo's garbage. She went through so much to get Saijo to talk, and the effort blinded her to the fact that he might have been misleading her, or misled himself. If she'd taken a moment to look at the big picture, she'd have realized there were too many holes in my presentation. But instead, she just slipped once again into the habit of focusing purely on what's in front of her. 8:50. A thunderous noise erupted and echoed within my belly. I checked to make sure, and the sky over Gonzo's house was illuminated. There were screams. What was considered the safest and most peaceful residential district in the city sank into chaos. A shallow hell. Very, very shallow. I looked down on the crowds that poked their heads out of their windows and patios. Just you wait. It'll only be a bit longer. I'll show you something far more interesting. I tightly shut my lips to stop my overconfidence in its tracks. From a strategic perspective, the victory of this battle was but an insignificant one. The ladies' short programs were all finished, and the crowd began to thin out. As if echoing my body's condition, my phone suddenly lost its signal, and I couldn't contact Usami or Haribi. Though I'm dizzy and can't remember much, I know that I was chasing a man with a wool cap. But after getting swallowed by the crowd, I let him escape. Thankfully, there was no explosion. When I checked and saw that Kanan was safe, I suddenly felt all the weight being lifted off of my shoulders. Did Maou fail? Or rather, did Usami stop him? You'll find out soon enough. The words of a passing pair of lovers reached my ears. There was an explosion in the southern district. Though I'm not usually one for eavesdropping, I thought it was of interest and began to listen closely. Yakuza. Seems to be a boss. Must be related to those shootings downtown. There's no peace in this city anymore. Just when I went looking for a public phone, I heard someone call out to me.
Azai-san.
Usami, with her brilliant sharp eyes, was standing there.
今までどちらにいらっしゃったんですか?
Blowing shit up? Oh, sorry. I explained the situation.
心配してたんですよ。倒れてるんじゃないかって。
Didn't I tell you not to worry? Anyway, I just heard some crazy news.
はい。そうでしょうね。
Usami suddenly turned away. What's wrong?
いえ、
The corners of her eyes trembled slightly.
すみません。ひどく悔しくて。
I was forced into silence.
こんな顔、あなたに見せたくなくて。
She couldn't be more different from her usual annoying self. What a bitter expression. It took her a moment, but it looks like she's finally restrained her desire to cry out.
そのまま聞いてもらえますか？
Of course. She almost sounded like a different person.
今となっては負け惜しみのようですが、最初からおかしいとは思っていたんです。まず、第一の被害者です。
The designer that made Kanan's outfit.
脅迫状では、さも魔王が殺したように書かれていましたが、階段から突き落としたくらいで、確実に死ぬと思いますか？実際現場にも行ってみました。階段は確かに急でしたし、視界も悪いです。しかし、螺旋状の階段でして、たとえ転げ落ちても途中で止まるのではないかと思いました。
I think this information would have been definitely very useful to have right from the beginning.
私は、これは警察の発表通り、殺人ではなく事故なのではないかと仮定しました。魔王は殺人を装った。本当はたまたま事故死した人をさも自分が殺したように見せかけたのではないか。すると、次に殺人を装えそうな人物がいました。2ヶ月前から帰国していて、連絡の取れないバレエダンサーのユグムントさんです。私は念のため、彼の不在を確認しに、西区の港まで行きました。
So that was her reasoning for going there.
ユグムントさんが殺されたように見せかけたいのなら、自宅付近で何らかの事件が起こるのではないかと思いました。そこで、辺りをうろうろしていたら、西条とばったり出くわしたわけです。そこで、不可解な事件が起こっていました。海に続く血です。西条がユグムントさんを殺したのかとも思いましたが、彼のコートに血はついていませんでした。
If Sidro used a knife to kill someone, there'd be spatter on him. Splatter.
後々西条の荷物を物色して分かったことですが、西条はどうやらユグムントさんの外国人運転免許証を拾ったようなのです。
His driver's license. I finally opened my mouth.
しかし、おそらく偽造でしょう。たとえユグムントさんが海に落ちたとして、どうして都合よく身分証が現場に残るんですか？
Maybe Maou left it there for Sidjo.
しかし、海に落とすということは、被害者の身元の判別を遅らせるためでしょう？
So you're saying Maou pretended to kill someone again?
はい。しかしそれは、我々には知らされないことでした。
Why would Maou do something like that? What's the point of faking murders that only Sidjo believes to be real?
そこが私にもわかりませんでした。しかし、この2件の偽の殺人こそが、今回の脅迫事件の全体像をつかむ有力な手がかりだったんです。
Leads?
何よりもおかしいのは、魔王はなぜカノンを直接脅迫しなかったのでしょうか。
Yeah. He clearly knows about Gonzo's residence, so there'd be no question that he knew where a celebrity like Kanan lived. And even if he didn't know, he could still leave a message for her at the school, the practice rink, or one of countless other places. You are absolutely right. Why the hell didn't I realize this? Well, they're family, so the message will get passed along sooner or later. No, that's a pathetic explanation right off the bat. There'd be no point in dragging things out like that.
私は、また魔王が遊んでいると考えていました。
Yeah, he must have been. I guess that makes this just like the kidnapping case then. This is just another challenge for you from the beginning.
しかし実際は違いました。魔王は本気でした。緻密に計画を練り上げ、さも私と遊んでいるように見せかけて、我々を欺いていたんです。
Usami lowered her head and quivered a bit, as if she were gnawing on her defeat.
魔王の本当の標的は、カノンではなかったんです。
What?
間違いありません。
I suppose the fact that Kanon is unharmed supports the theory, but...
魔王は巧妙に、自分がさもフィギュアスケート会場を狙っているように、我々を誘導していました。その最もな例が西条です。西条がよほど優秀な人物ならわかります。けれど、西条は魔王にとって足手まといに過ぎませんでした。しかし、それこそが罠だったんです。西条が足手まといであればあるほど、魔王にとっては有能な共犯者だったのです。魔王はおそらく、西条がユグモントさんの殺害の件も喋ると予想していたのでしょう。おかげでますます我々の目はフィギュアスケートに集まっていきました。
But didn't Maou treat Saijo kindly in an attempt to make him swear allegiance? What would he have done if Saijo hadn't confessed, or if he never even caught him?
そこは魔王も懸念していたことでしょう。今回はゴンゾーさんとその組織もついていました。暴力団の拷問に耐えられる人間などいないと踏んでいたのかもしれません。
And that bet paid out in full, despite Saijo's resilience to Haribi's sadism. Usami once said that Maou would prepare a show befitting his audience, and she was right.
2日にわたる尋問の末、ユキの力も借りて、ようやく聞き出した魔王の計画です。私は、ホテルに誘導された時と同じ失敗をしてしまったんです。
We both were. Don't be so down. When you proposed the flower toss at the moment of truth, it seems too brilliant to be wrong. Usami glanced up at me with very sad eyes.
どうも、ありがとうございます。
I wasn't trying to comfort you, but you did it anyway, and I'm very glad that you did. Good boy! In any case, I understand your point now. Like you said, there'd be no reason for Maou to hurt Kanon.
私は、魔王が私の仲間を狙っていると勘違いしていました。
It was a reasonable thought, seeing as that was the case in the Miwa kidnapping incident. Wait, so... the real target is... The passing couple's conversation suddenly sprang to my mind.
はい。その答えにたどり着いたのは、カノンの演技が終わる直前でした。魔王は手の込んだ誘導を仕掛けてきましたよね。
Yeah.
今回の事件で、最も振り回されたのは誰です？
You and...
浅井ゴンゾーさんです。
I inhaled sharply, but only a tiny gasp escaped my throat.
だからこそ、脅迫状は私とゴンゾーさん宛てに届いたんです。
To the monster and my beloved hero.
実際、私も命を狙われました。ゴンゾーさんはどうでしょう？今別の暴力団とも敵対して、大忙しですよね。
Gonzo would never suspect that Mao's fangs were actually pointed at himself.
ただ、それもあくまで推測でして、また裏を書かれているのではないかと、疑心暗鬼に駆られてしまいました。それで、ゴンゾーさんへの連絡が遅れてしまったことが、悔しくて仕方がないのです。
How? I screamed without reservation. Then, the explosion in the residential area in the southern district was...
ゴンゾーさんを狙ったものでしょう。
I can't believe this. Gonzo. Gonzo can't be dead. Have you tried getting in contact with him? Don't tell me that we're too late. I couldn't suppress my anxiety. Alright, look. I'm just gonna go check on Gonzo's house. No, I should check the hospital first. Damn it! The man might be a demon, but I owe him my life. I've wished for his death many times, but now that it's actually happened...
お優しいんですね、本当は。
Stop joking around. If Gonzo dies, a shrimp like me is done for.
安心してください、浅井さん。
What? Usami spoke calmly.
ゴンゾーさんはご無事ですよ。
He is? My limbs lost all strength. I could do nothing but blink repeatedly. I eventually calmed down. Soon after, Haribi came by and ushered us into a high-end club on Central Boulevard. Not a single normal customer was inside. The hostess wasn't there either.
俺が死んだと思ったか？
Kinda, yeah. The giant acknowledged my arrival before taking a swig of strong whiskey. Yes. I'm so glad you're safe. A deep, bellowed laughter echoed throughout the club.
魔王は上の策を浪するのは得意なようだが、殺しというものが分かっていない。狩りをしようと思うなら、自らも食われる覚悟で臨まねばならん。実際、魔王は俺の屋敷に乗り込んでくるのではなく、
You saw through his plan to booby trap your car?
いや、魔王の手口そのものは巧妙だと言わざるを得ん。証拠の一つも残していないのだろう。どんな手段で俺を殺しにかかるのか見ものではあったが、予測のしようはなかった。
Interested. We're talking about your life here.
最初から奴が俺の命を狙うことは分かっていた。なぜなら脅迫状は俺に届いたのだから。読み通り不審な点はいくつも出てきた。階段から突き落として殺すなど愚の骨頂というもの。事故と殺人の区別がつかないほど式は甘くない。他にも西条というカマセイヌ、不意に勢いづいた親衛会のカスども。だから俺はわざと自分の動きを知らせるような情報を裏に流した。
Then your plan to march into battle tonight was.
俺は旧態依然とした親衛会とは違う。獲物を狩るのになぜ声を上げねばならん。
I'm well aware that he's a maverick among the Yakuza, but his radical philosophy is still difficult to comprehend at times.
お話中失礼します。今、親衛会の内藤組長が見えてまして。
おう。
親父に面倒しを願っていまして、どうやら手打ちを申し出てるようですが。
和睦したいのだな。
ええ。縁故も詰めてきたようでして。
指などいらん。金を持ってこさせろ。
それは納得されないでしょう。組長にもメンツってもんが。
Fine. He can give me his finger and cash.
納得させろ。それが俺に従うということだ。できんのなら皆殺しにすると伝えろ。
Shinie's boss came personally to apologize. Yet Gonzo closed the door on him.
というわけだ、京介。魔王が車を爆破した頃、俺はここで酒を飲んでいた。
Watching everything with calm abandonment. But he could afford to be this calm, I suppose, seeing as he'd predicted everything. I see. Your safety is more important than anything else. There was nothing else to be said. I bowed and walked to the door.
宇佐美。
はい。
分かっていると思うが、京介から目を離すな。
What do you mean exactly, Daddy? Usami, without answering, followed me out. In the end, my plan was simply not thorough enough. Setting things in motion without confirming the target firsthand was a mistake. I suppose I underestimated Usami and Azai Gonzo a bit. Just a bit. I'll admit my defeat. There are many things one can learn from defeat. For example, Azai Gonzo really is something to behold. A lone hunting rifle can't kill him. Next time, though, I'll put you down for sure. And welcome back. Hey, champ. Looks like you got a high score today, too. Kanon smiled and opened the bag she was carrying. She began to pack her clothes. You leaving me now? What's going on? Yep. I am now about to be alone once more. At least until Usami decides to come by and bother Kyosuke, which I will always be grateful for. Really? You know I don't mind if you stay, right? Another small smile came and went. There you go, thinking you're the center of the universe again. What? Shocked, I took a long, hard look at Kanon's face. I could just barely see the tears shimmering on the surface of her eyes. Give her a hug before she leaves. She bid a sudden farewell. As if she had set her heart in stone, Ganon's hands furiously, incessively packed. Did something happen? But... Her eyes were full of sadness, yet the tears within burned as if scolding me. I could only stand there dumbly. Should I have given more thought as to why Kanon came to rely on me? Yes, but we all know you're not really good at this sort of thing, unless you have my guiding hand to help you. We're siblings, though only in name. No doubt there was something I could have done for her. I didn't do anything. Glad I was useful for something in the end. I was confused, restless, and anxious. Something like a breath was welling up in my throat, and I had to let it out. Why not stay then? I held out a hand to Kanon. I'm so sorry. I've been so preoccupied with keeping bothersome things for you that I completely failed to realize that you must have been doing the same. However, Kanon merely replied in a dejected, hopeless tone. She calmly returned my gaze with a smile. Kanon had already closed off her heart. There was nothing left for me to say. Behind that light smile lies something that she'll never let me see again. Her slender fingers gently slid along my neck. Well, I got Usami to back me up, so I'm sure I'll be okay. Maybe. Tumultuous emotions bounded me in silence. Kanon has never cared about my looks before. But it was a thin sympathy. Leaving behind her an unsettling confusion, My sister in name only walked out the door. I think I'll go a little more. The icy, salty sea wind stabbed the skin. The darkness of this particular night allowed the stars to shine and made Tomenbetsu City's populace all the more aware of the coming cold winter. Haru soared through recent events one more time. This time, with Azai Gonzo's power, she had been able to force a stalemate. The pocket of this girl bathing in helplessness began to vibrate, and a melodic chime poured forth into the night. Her will to fight burned hot once more. It was the phone Maou had given her.
勝利の余韻を味わっているのか。
冗談だろう。
それを聞いて安心した。お前たちはまだ私を捕まえていないのだからな。
Focusing on the voice coming from the receiver, Haru bent down and looked into the bottom of the sea.
あの血は動物か何かだったのか。
近くのスーパーで魚を安売りしていたものでな。
警察が調べればすぐに殺人なんて起こっていないことがわかる。だから西条に確認させ、西条の口から私たちに告げさせたんだな。
そこまで考えていたわけではない。私はただ西条に力があるところを見せつけてやるつもりだった。死体が上がらぬ海などといかにも怪しげな嘘もついたが、彼は純粋だった。換気扇に投げ入れるだけで店の人間を全て殺せる劇薬を簡単に作れると信じれるくらい。
C の5番の席にあった紙袋にガムテープで封がしてあったのはさ
気づいてもらわねば困るのでな。いいヒントだったと思うが。
Damn it. Haru clicked her tongue in her mind.
おかげで私たちは西条を追うことに必死になった。その間に魔王はじっくりと西条を手なずけていったわけだな。
手なずけるという言い方は心外だな。彼は誰でもいいから構ってほしかった。私はそんな可愛い坊やと少しだけ遊んでやったに過ぎない。
同じことだ。
いや違う。彼は楽しかったはずだ。私と出会ったことで捨て鉢のような人生にようやく春が訪れた。たとえ破滅が待っていたとしても普段は味わえない興奮と期待を覚えていただろう。
Haru had already predicted Maou's next words.
お前もそうだ、宇佐美春。やっと私に巡り会えた。お前はただの死に損ない。お前に必要なのは愛でも友情でもなく敵であり悪であり、そう固くできる思い込みだ。
Haru felt the hole this devil had dug into her chest widen. Her face grew stiff, her breath shallow.
だからバイオリンも捨てたのだろう。
Keep silent. Endure it. Just endure it. The growing, licking flames of hate held Haru fast to the ground. She could only stand there statuesque, dumbstruck.
まだまだ構ってやる。
Maou said gently.
決して春の訪れない冬の遊び場で。
At some point, the dial tone reached her ears. The violin. With her eyes perfectly still, Haru just walked. Don't think about anything. Kick away the darkness of the night. Moan in pain. Retain this anger. Bear this curse. Put your entire existence into this hatred. If Haru did anything else, she might think about trying to regain that precious toy she threw away so long ago. Ah, time for the next chapter. You know what? I think that this is a good note to end things on. Next time we come back, we can start the next chapter of The Devil on G-String. Certainly, in hindsight, I really wish I had seen the strangeness of just where that letter actually showed up. Because if it was a threat to Kanan, it would have made more sense for the letter to have been sent to her directly, or anything, or anything, or anywhere close to her, anywhere closer to her. Like, why send it to Izai Gonzo's house, if that was the goal? Unless, of course, it was a very subtle, indirect way of saying to the owner of the house, "You're on my hit list, bitch." If I had realized that a lot sooner, I probably would have been able to guess exactly what the hell was going on a long time ago. Oh well, I mean, it is what it is, I guess. I'm no sense lamenting about what I didn't spot. Anywho, that's enough rambling from me. I'm going to go ahead and end things here. I hope you guys enjoyed this latest episode of The Devil on G-String. If you did and you want to see more content from me, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I will see you all next time. Take care.